What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we are done with the 2018 NFL Draft. And what I'm going to do, before we do our player grades video, expect that I'm going to guess maybe Monday, Tuesday. On Monday, we'll be doing full AFC grades. So in one video, I'll be rating all the AFC teams. And then Tuesday, I'll be doing full NFC grades. But I figured just to, appease everyone early and the diehard Eagle fans, I'm going to be giving you my draft grades for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm also going to talk a little bit about the undrafted free agents at the bottom part of the video here, because undrafted free agents have been very influential for our roster during the Howie Roseman era. Trey Burton, Corey Clement, those are probably the two big ones, but it seems like almost every single year one guy cracks the main roster as an undrafted free agent, and that's kind of uncommon around the league. I would say, 25% of teams might have one or two undrafted free agents make the final 53, but it seems like more often than not, Philadelphia is tending to find a diamond in the rough. So it's still, kind of early, well, not kind of early, it's about halfway through the undrafted free agency process in terms of the big names, but Philly could still look to add in a couple more. Before we get in that, though, we got to start at where we picked. So I'm actually going to grade the first round pick, which was the trade to the Ravens. And now looking back on that, I'm giving it a C+. I still, it's one of those things, it's going to be really, really tough to truly grade this pick until we really see who we select in the second round next year. But ultimately, it's pretty much consensus around the league that unless the Baltimore Ravens are going to be terrible next year, and that second round pick is, there's a chance that's a top 10 pick in the second round. But unless that second round pick is in the top 5, it's a pretty fair trade. They said, by scoring the picks and everything like that, it's a little bit in favor of the Eagles, but it's pretty close. And the Ravens got good value to trade up to go get Lamar Jackson, and more importantly, that fifth-year option that comes with being a first-round pick. I feel like, we should have bent them over more. We should have been able to get more value. I definitely don't think we should have had to throw in our fourth rounder. I would have liked to retain that a little bit. But more so, we could have got, I just think we should have got something better. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a fourth-round pick, give us a third-round pick. Instead of, something like that. I just feel like knowing the importance of that pick to the Ravens, which is probably going to be a franchise-altering player for them in Lamar Jackson, looking at 2019 going forward, they got out kind of unscathed a little bit. So, I'm giving that a C+. But then we were able to move back down to the second round where we selected tight end Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. I'm giving that a B+. Now, Goedert was my second tight end on my big board behind Mike Gesicki, and the only reason why he wasn't my number one, because I tweeted out well before the draft process really began, because someone actually tweeted at me his highlight reel, and I said, that's the most impressive highlight reel I've ever seen. Looked like mixtape 2007 jams, those cool jams. Everyone see those montage high dunks and stuff like that from street ball. It looks like, man, he literally looks like Odell Beckham Jr. at the tight end spot. So I was really impressed with that. The only reason why I couldn't put him as my number one tight end is because he injured himself and wasn't able to run through the athletic testing drills at the combine. And I really do feel like when you come from, that second level of competition, you really kind of want to see what's the speed, because, he looks like a good athlete on tape, but, he's going up against inferior competition. And certain things, it doesn't matter what you're going up against, you're going to be good either way. Hands, route running, and speed. Those are usually three things that, regardless of what level of competition you played, it will translate. But we don't really have a gauge of what Dallas Goedert's speed's going to be. Is he a 4.6, a 4.5 tight end? Someone like that. From just the eyeball test from a lot of football I've watched, I would guess he'd probably be low 4.6s in terms of his speed, because he can get good separation downfield. But because of the uncertainty around those testing numbers, and we don't want to put a drastic amount of weight upon, those combine numbers, I think, he's still the safe second best tight end with the hot upside to be the best tight end from this year's draft class. So for a B+, a couple factors go into that not being an A. Like I said, the uncertainty about his testing, and really the Eagles putting a lot of value on getting Trey Burton's replacement and having a 2 tight end set and a backup, because he's still a backup. We use our best pick to be a backup to Zach Ertz ultimately. Now, he may see a lot of time on the field, but he still is always going to be tight end 2 on the depth chart, at least for the next couple of years, because we have Zach Ertz on a really, really nice-looking contract. But ultimately, I'm very excited to see how he's going to be used as a rookie. I know he's definitely going to find a lot of work in the red zone early on, but I think B+ is a fair grade here for Dallas Goedert. Going to the fourth round, we had 2 fourth-round picks. First up, we selected corner Avant Maddox from Pitt. Now, when you look at Maddox, clearly has all the traits of a nickel corner. He was, kind of Like, if I had to look at just from what limited tape, I didn't do a whole lot. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Mike Hilton from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he had a bunch of sacks this year. He's pretty productive. So from that standpoint, it looks a little bit optimistic. Plus, he had a really good combine in terms of agility and speed. He ran the 4.39, I believe it was, and I think he tested in like the 99th percentile or 96th percentile for agility, and he's a good tackler. But there's lots of negatives. I've seen a lot of Pitt fans on Twitter saying that, you know, he can get beat down deep. And I memean, as a nickel corner, he's not going to be, you know, as a rookie, we're probably not going to try to get him to cover Odell Beckham on a slant or anything like that. But personally for me, I'm giving this a C+. And the reason why I'm giving it a C+ is because, you know, understanding that if we were going to draft a corner in this year's draft class, it was most likely going to be a slot nickel corner. Maddox was not my top guy on the board. I think he was in the group of 3, you know, from number 3 on kind of thing. I don't really know how much separation we'd have, because I think Perry Nickerson and DJ Reed were my, you know, if you're going for a pure nickel corner outside of the first round, outside of the first, second round, DJ Reed was a guy because he has really good return ability, better production than Maddox. Or you look at a guy like Perry Dixon, great production, also lit it up the combine like a 4.32, was like one of the fastest or tied for the fastest corners from Tulane. So those guys were still available at this point. So, you know, I'm not going to be overly critical because, again, when push comes to shove, we're Super Bowl champions. We need to trust the minds that built this team and a Super Bowl champion in Howie Roseman and Joe Douglas. And that's actually that's how I'm gonna end the video there. But back to grading the picks. Maddox is C+. I would have been happier with Perry Nickerson or DJ Reed, but ultimately you got to value that they did address a position that we needed to get more depth, and Maddox does look somewhat promising. Going to the second, fourth round pick, we have Josh Sweat from Florida State. Give us a B+. You know, if you look at the spider graph chart, which is, you know, basically it measures all your athletic ability and height, weight, speed, and gives you kind of some pro comps, he's almost like a like for like of Jadeveon Clowney. And when he was coming out of high school, he's one of the highest rated high school recruits that I can really recall. And, you know, unfortunately has had some injury history. But if you can put it all together, he could be an absolute steal. So right now, I'm just giving this a B+, but this could very well emerge as the best pick of the draft for us. And thinking long-term, I mean, it would be nice if we had a linebacker in the spot. I don't know if they view him as a linebacker. I'm going to assume he's an edge rusher. But when you look at the future of our defensive end, you got Brandon Graham. He's, you know, 1 year left on his deal. He has some contract negotiations. Maybe things, for whatever reason, could go sour there. Chris Long's on a 1 year deal. Michael Bennett's on a 1 year deal. So even though it looks like we have an absolute army, a war chest of defensive ends, thinking forward, it could thin out sooner than later. And getting a guy like Josh Sweat now in the 4th round, long term, he could have a big time role with the Eagles. So when it initially happened, I was like, oh, come on, we got to get Shaquem Griffin here. But the more and more I think about it, this is a really nice pick here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to the 6th round, we got tackle guard Matt Pryor from TCU. Big boy. Pretty much the only thing about him is that he's massive. What we know about Doug Peterson so far, during the Doug Peterson era, is more often than not we're going to draft a gigantic offensive lineman. He likes the big maulers. Matt Pryor is pretty much, you know, Big V 2.0. I'm giving this a C. This was a very surprising pick for me. A lot of people consider Matt Pryor to be 7th round undrafted free agent territory. And, you know, I'm still looking. I see some names of linebackers here. Linebackers is a spot I really want to address. And we're getting a guy like Matt Pryor, did not test particularly well. Basically what you're getting is a big mauler that's, you know, pro-ready, limited ceiling, and has decent arm length. So, you know, looks like a depth guy. Nothing too special about him. If we're looking at tackles, there's still better projects, you know, like maybe Desmond Harrison. Some off the field there, but in terms of upside, maybe one of the higher ceilings of the offensive tackle class. So ultimately, you know, just giving you a C. At least, you know, we're beefing up the offensive line. And then finishing up in the 7th round, we got Jordan Mailata, the rugby player, the freak rugby player. That's 6'8", 350. If you play Madden, you better know he has superstar dev trait. I'm intrigued. I'm giving this a C because he's a guy that's never played football before in his life. Anytime you draft a guy that's pretty much a clear candidate for practice squad, it's kind of hard to grade it much more than a C. But I'm very optimistic because this is a guy that they could utilize a bunch of spots. He's pretty much being penciled in as an offensive lineman. But if you watch his highlights playing rugby, he can run guys over, man. He's a good athlete. He tested really, really well. I basically said on Twitter, he's like the polar opposite of Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown and both him are pretty much like the same size. Orlando Brown has the tape and horrific athletic ability, whereas Mailata has the exceptional athletic ability and literally zero tape. So that being said, you know, we could use him as a fullback. We could use him as a tight end. He could just be that Swiss Army knife on the offense. But again, I just can't really see a way that he does not land on the practice squad here as a rookie. And because of that, And sometimes when you see teams get steals in the 7th round, it has to stay as a C right now. And then finishing up with the early signings as undrafted free agents, we got running back Josh Adams, who at some point last year for Notre Dame was considered in the Heisman Trophy race. We got cornerback Jordan Thomas from Oklahoma, who, there were some shouts at the beginning, some point during 2016, near the end of the 2016 season, he could be, a day 2 pick at the quarterback spot from Oklahoma. We got defensive back Jeremy Reese in Southern Alabama. He's regarded as one of the most aggressive corners in the class. We had him as a pre-draft visit. I think a lot of people had him as like a 5th-round pick. That is very interesting. We got defensive end Joe Ostman from Central Michigan, 19.5 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, good production. And then we got offensive tackle Toby Weathersby from LSU, and I think he declared early. I think if Weathersby returned to LSU for one more year, he probably would be another day 2 pick at tackle. So I actually really like Weathersby, and I think not enough people are talking about that. I think he is a nice little candidate at tackle, and I actually rate Weathersby higher than Matt Pryor, the pick we took in the 6th round. I was actually calling for Weathersby. People ask me for, when we're picking for the 6th and 7th, list out some players that you might be interested in. I had Weathersby on that list, so I was kind of pumped that we were able to land him. And look so far, man, looking around the league at undrafted free agents, I'm going to say right now, Philly has a top 3 class right now for undrafted free agents. The Jags are killing it. Looks like the Vikings are killing it. But Philly's right there in the mix, and there's still some big names out there. Sky Moore, linebacker from South Carolina. He's still there. I think I just got a report that Simi Cobbs went to the Redskins, which is very annoying because everyone knows I'm a big fan of Simi Cobbs. But ultimately, guys, those are my grades. I'm going to give right now early grade for the Philadelphia Eagles undrafted free agents. I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it an A right there. But overall, I don't know what the math is. C+, B+, C+, B+, C, and C. So that's probably what? A C+? You know what? Just to make it not seem as harsh, we're going to go B-. Eagles are getting a B- grade so far for the draft. For all you Eagle fans that are watching this, give me your draft grade for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you agree or disagree with any of my grades here, let me know in the comment section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tomorrow, you may get a sneak peek of what some of these rookies, in my opinion, are going to look like in the Madden 19 game. Got to work on that tonight, so no absolute promises. Then I'm thinking Monday, you're going to get AFC grades. Tuesday, you're going to get NFC grades. Wednesday, Dinos Episode 3. Thursday, something else of some sort. Friday, new rebuild series, which I think you guys are definitely going to enjoy. So that is all coming up. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.